Now you might be saying, well, that's very limiting. If everything is in C minor, how bloody boring does that get? Well, it does get a bit boring, so guess what? We can change it. Let's take a look at how to combine loops and keyboard instruments in GarageBand, because it can be a bit tricky, and I'm going to show you what I mean. Let's jump in here and start loading up some loops. So we've come into GarageBand, we're going to create a new track here, and we're right here in our regular audio recorder. We're just going to go to our track view mode here, and then we're going to go to Apple Loops. We're going to bring in an Apple loop. Now, my favorite Apple loop, I've loved it ever since it was released, is actually a MIDI loop. It's this one here. It's this Latin rock piano, because it sounds like this. And I've always wanted to use this in something. So I'm going to use it in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap and drag this. Now, because it's a MIDI loop, it's not going to go in our first folder. It's going to go in our second one. Although it can actually. It can go there. Did you know that? You can drag a MIDI loop onto an audio track, and it's going to create an audio file. Pretty cool. All right, well, undo that because we don't want that here. But yeah, I thought, in case you didn't know that, there you go. There's a twofer, an extra tip. But we'll grab the Latin rock 70s piano and we'll bring it into here. And now it's a MIDI loop. And the reason we want to keep it a MIDI loop is it means that we can actually come in here and edit it. We can change the instrument, we can change all of the settings here, and we can even change the notes here. We can transpose it, we can tweak it, we can change it. We can do whatever we want. So we've got our Latin rock piano here. Now, what I'll do, let's just layer up another couple of loops here, and then I'll show you how we can actually utilize these with our keyboard instruments. Because people ask me questions like, Pete, how do I adjust tempos? What about the key signature? How does this all work together? I'm going to show you all that here. So we'll go to our Apple loops, and let's grab another one. This time we want something that's an actual. There was a cool saxophone that I was playing around with the other day, but what was it called? I thought it was called the back to something. Is it up here? Back to school. Let's try this back to school sax. So this is from the Vision and Verse kit. So if we tap on this one, that's a bit weird. What about this number one? That's a bit nuts. We'll bring it in anyway. Let's just see if it does anything. So we'll bring this in here. No, that's really not going to work. Was it the other one that I was liking and that I was playing with? The back to school number 2 sax? Let's bring this one in here. No, that was not it either. Oh, I was playing before and I found something that worked well, and it's clearly not one of these. All right, we're going to have to get a little bit more experimental here. We'll go back to school, back to the jams. What about the piano? That might work a bit better. All right, let's bring in this piano. Now, this one is just a regular loop. So you can see here, this is a MIDI loop, this is an audio loop. And if we play these together, now, GarageBand does something to help you out here. Almost all of the loops that you have here are actually in the key of C minor. So if you want to work out that, what we can do is we can come in here to a piano. Let's just add a regular piano. So we'll go to our more sounds here. We'll add in our classical grand, and there's our C minor chord, yeah? Or even easier, if we come into our chords mode, we can actually edit our chords. So we'll come here, we'll edit chords. And in fact, you know what? Before we edit our chords, let's put our whole key, because this can make things easier for us. We'll put our whole key into C minor, because this will auto-adjust all of these. So if you're using loops, that's the first tip. Put your key into C minor if you're using them on the default key. Because now, if I just play along with this sound that we've got in here, let's hit play. Sorry, it's sounding a bit too frenetic. I'm gonna get rid of this other piano. It's just confusing me because it's nice, but it's not the right sort of thing. So if we go back to our piano, you can hear there that I got the key wrong, but it was actually the C minor, and then it went to the F minor, G minor. Except it was more like a G7 at the end there, but it's based around a C, F, G, a standard 1, 4, 5 that you've got there. So if we come back over to here, we can actually use some of this. In fact, we could add some autoplay, but what I'll do first is I'll change this instrument because we don't want two pianos. We've already got the Latin piano there. We're going to change this instrument to maybe our electric piano. Why don't we go with that? Here it is, our electric piano, a bit of a Rhodes sound here. That's going to work well, yeah? So because we're in that key of C minor, and we know it goes 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, we can actually bring this in here. So let's now hit record, and what we're going to do is layer over the top of our loop, we're going to layer an actual instrument we're going to play in here, manually, here in GarageBand. We'll hit record, and we'll go for it. There we go. So I did it better the second time, so let's split that out the middle here. So I didn't like the first version we did there, so we're just going to grab this, split it. We're going to delete this first version. Then all we need to do is grab this one, tap it, loop it, and there you go. So now we've got ourselves, we're starting to build up a track here, yeah? Now you might be saying, well, that's very limiting. If everything is in C minor, how bloody boring does that get? Well, it does get a bit boring, so guess what? We can change it. And I recommend you change it. If you're worried about using your loops and you're worried about copyright and you're worried about content matches, what you want to do is actually change things up a little bit. So the first thing you can do is change the key. And we can do that easily. We tap here on our little item, our little settings item, and we go to key signature. Now, because we've set it to C minor, which we know is the key of our loops, we can actually change this to whatever we want. Now, we can't change it to major, because it's not going to change the notes like that. But let's say we want to bring it to one of my favorite keys, E minor. We can do that. We tap E minor, and now take a listen. Right? So it's in the E minor key now. And that's going to mean that if someone else has a song, so Mark Woodyatt here saying that he's used this loop, and a lot of other people have too. So you want to make it your own, yeah? You want to make sure you're not using the same stuff as everyone else for copyright reasons and just for creativity. So we've got that changed now. But now I'm thinking this E piano needs to come down an octave. So that's easy. Because this is all MIDI, we can actually come in here to our settings and we can take this down a whole octave by just tapping this one here. So we've transposed it down an octave and now we get this sound. There you go. So we'll just bring this down. Now we know that we're in E minor. What's cool is that let's add some more instruments. Let's add an over-the-top like kind of sound. In fact, we'll go into our more sounds here because you might not know, but in the other here, we've got some very cool like flutes and oboes and clarinets and French horns. I'm thinking a flute might work on top of this one. Yeah, I'm thinking like some sort of flute sound like that. So we'll just scroll this up a bit and we'll get a nice trebly flute sound going on here. Like, I'll just have to bring my microphone in here. Something like that. So let's record this along with it. And remember, we're in E minor now. So we can play this in E minor. So hit the record button and try something. Now, I deliberately made a mistake there. Sure, let's go with that. So that we could fix it. Because again, because we're MIDI here, we can tap here, we can go edit. And where's our mistake? Let's listen. See if you can find it with me. Yeah, so we made the mistake on that note. So we just grab this and bring it back up. And now it's like it never happened. Cool. Now, it's not right on the beat, so what we do is we would quantize this sucker because, just to make it sound a little bit better, we'll come in here, we'll go to our track settings, we'll go to quantization. Now, it's a bit of a swing rhythm, so we'll probably give it like a 1/16 heavy swing and just see if this works with this track. Probably more a 1/8 swing. No, it's not. We'll go with 1/16 light. That'll probably be the best. So we're building this out here now. Now, of course, we could add in other loops here because, we tried this regular loop, but any of our regular sort of drum loops that we wanted to put in here, we can. So let's just find something random that might work in this as a drum loop. What about an African drum? African talking drum. We're going some real fusion here. So some real fusion of styles. Yep, and then we need some sort of drum kit in here as well. So let's just find a drum kit kind of sound. We'll come down. We'll use a drummer loop. You know what? Let's use Maybe not Anders. Anders might be a bit nuts, but maybe Anton. Maybe Anton will bring in the Anton first class, his electric drums that we bring in here. Let's see what this is going to do. So we've started to build out something pretty cool here, yeah? Now, you don't have to stop there. One final thing I wanted to show you is that you can even add in some auto-tune here. So let's go to another keyboard instrument that we know, sorry, auto-tune, some autoplay. Let's go to another keyboard instrument that we know has some autoplay here. So what about something like the French horn? This has got some autoplay, doesn't it? Or am I missing it? No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. French horn has some autoplay. So we know we're in E minor. We can just play the French horn the same way we did there by putting the chords in. We can play it directly in. We can play it directly in there. But if we're here in our chords mode, we can actually use autoplay. So let's find an autoplay that might work for this. So what about autoplay number 2? I kind of like that. So let's add this in by hitting the record button and using our autoplay. So we're just going to tap record, then we're going to tap on the E minor here. There you go. So we can then just loop this out here because we've got our first half of it. We bring it to there and we loop it. Boom. And then we grab this one and we loop it. So we've used a whole bunch of different types of loops in here. And the key is the key. So the key is the key. The key is to keep everything in the same key, right? To make sure that we know our key signature, that we know that we're matching up, and that when we select our loop, especially if you're using loops like these sort of loops that come in here, let's bring this nuts piano back in, shall we? If you're using especially Apple loops, that are these blue loops, that they're generally going to be in C minor. So do keep that in mind. And then there you go. In the space of about 10 minutes, you've been able to pull together something that is customized, that's completely unique and completely you. And if you need a podcast intro or an intro to a video or your own personal music you're going to use behind your videos, this is a cool way to do it without a whole lot of effort. So let's see, without any mixing or without much going on, what's actually happened with this. Let's hit play. And to celebrate, we've lost the screen. But there you go. That is how we can utilize our Apple loops. So we've got loops in there. We've got our own instruments. You can use autoplay together. And again, the key is the key. And you can, of course, change tempo and do other cool things in there as well. So there's heaps more videos. If you go over to studiolivetoday.com/GarageBand, you're going to be able to find a whole bunch of other information about how to use GarageBand on your iPhone or iPad.